Hello, welcome back to the Michael Talks Football channel. Big news coming yesterday in the world of international football, not club football. Maybe we'll get into club football news later in the stream when we're talking about COVID, of course, and then obviously the Bundesliga. They're going into the winter break, and then as of right now, I'm watching Serie A. Atalanta versus AS Roma, and Roma are leading 2-1 thanks to goals from Tammy Abraham and Zaniolo. So big game in the Serie A. But we got to discuss about what happened yesterday between UEFA and Conmebol. Wow. That's all I got to say, because, we talked about how FIFA want to have the World Cup every 2 years and how that will change the world of international football. Well, UEFA and Conmebol have now headquarters as well in London, so that UEFA and Conmebol can now discuss more about having plans together, competitions, and all this sort of stuff, leaving out FIFA all by itself to deal with their own situations, while UEFA and Conmebol are trying to make the most money as possible. This is all just a money thing at the moment between these two confederations. But let's get into the articles. Let's read about this. Let's educate ourselves about this whole competition, this whole idea. As we know, the Nations League is competed by all UEFA nations. We had the draw on Thursday for the new Nations League season starting next season. But now, with CONMEBOL possibly coming after the 2024, no, they're going to come in the 2024. So probably after the 2024 Euros, then the Nations League happens, and then we're going to see all CONMEBOL nations compete in the Nations League. Should be fascinating to see. So UEFA is in talks with South America, with CONMEBOL, over a joint Nations League that would see, I love how it says here, Brazil and Argentina, and completely ignores the likes of Chile, Peru, Bolivia, Paraguay. They just say Brazil and Argentina. Like, that's the only countries in CONMEBOL. Come on, man. Who's writing this? Featuring the expanded competition. UEFA and CONMEBOL have fiercely opposed World Football Association FIFA plans for a biennial World Cup, with the two this week signing an extended memorandum of understanding until June 2028. So basically, they have signed a joint venture with each other until 2028, CONMEBOL and UEFA. European champions Italy are already set to take on Copa America winners Argentina in the so-called Finalissima on June 1st next year in London. So basically, they want to make the most money. They want to have a big competition, a big final between the two winners of respective confederations in Italy and Argentina, and have it in London. God damn it. What is going on here? So let's keep reading. UEFA is working on a number of projects with CONMEBOL, including a joint Nations League, but nothing is finalized and no decisions have yet been made, a spokesperson said. In an interview with Polish outlet Mezicki, I think it's how you pronounce it, on Thursday, UEFA Vice President Zbigniew Boniek said the 10 South American nations will be added to the Nations League competition from 2024. From 2024, CONMEBOL will join the Nations League. We do not yet know in what formula or in what form, he said. We signed a memorandum about cooperation between CONMEBOL and UEFA, and from 2024, these teams will play in the Nations League. Wow. Boniek added that 6 CONMEBOL nations will join the League A, so basically with the likes of Italy, Spain, Germany, and these sort of teams, while then 4 nations will drop down to the League B. So maybe the likes of Bolivia, Paraguay, Venezuela, these sort of nations, another nation of those will join League B of the Nations League. The entry of South American sides would increase the number of teams in the two groups from 16 to 22 and 20 in the League B, respectively, with all the matches set to be played in Europe to avoid excessive travel. Oh, man. Nobody wants to go play in Bolivia and La Paz in altitude. What a shame. I'm joking, guys. I mean, crazy. You're gonna ask, if this happens, you're gonna ask the Bolivian National Federation to pay for all their players, because if I'm not mistaken, all Bolivian players play either in Bolivia, or then you have Marcelo Martins who plays in Brazil. You're gonna ask Bolivia, probably one of the only nations who have all their players in South America, to pay for all their travel to go to Europe and play. Really smart idea. The revamped Nations League would also represent direct competition to FIFA plans for a World Cup every 2 years, a proposal Boniek said will be difficult to implement, adding that he was against the idea of introducing more new events. Well, then what's this idea? This is basically a new event, but you're going to add even more teams. So what are you trying to do here? This is all a money thing, guys. This is all a money thing, and we all know it. If you guys haven't voted in the poll yet, do vote in the poll where I asked, do you like the idea? So far, we're all 33% on yes, no, and both want money. And if you guys haven't hit the like button, do so already in the stream. Really appreciate it. And give me your thoughts in the chat. Let's have a good discussion. I'll be here for about an hour and a half. I'm feeling a little bit better today, so we can discuss about the Nations League and all that sort of stuff, while I'm also watching Atalanta versus AS Roma. So this is the proposal. FIFA will hold a global summit on Monday to discuss their ambitious plans, but UEFA President Alexander Schäferin, who has been a vocal critic of the biennial World Cup, said the meeting would not be a defining moment in the process. As much as we know, FIFA is still pursuing the project of about the 2 years. There are some signals coming from different sides that they might not pursue it until the end. He said it this week. We don't have a particular strategy for Monday. It will be 211 federations. That means 500 people at the video conference. I don't expect something very deep, he added. So, yeah, that's the first article from Sky Sports. Give me your thoughts in the chat. Hi, Sebastian. How are you doing? How are you doing, Mike? It will be so wrong to see Chile versus Sweden if this happens. That would be pretty weird. I don't like the idea. I want them to do the Nations League, but club mode, so I can finally see Aiko against Colo Colo. Well, I don't know about club mode, but that would be very difficult for the likes of Colo Colo and Aiko to travel to either South America or Europe. Hopefully the confederations would pay for that, but I highly doubt it. So let's go to the next article from The Athletic. Very good, obviously, sourced. They always explain their ideas about the whole situation. Nothing different here from The Athletic. So they say that UEFA is working with the South American Federation, Conmebol. Why do they keep saying Brazil and Argentina? There isn't just Brazil and Argentina in the freaking Conmebol. Oh my God, please stop. There's other nations like Bolivia, like I talked about. Both associations have opposed FIFA plans for biennial World Cup, and this week signed a renewed and extended memorandum of understanding corporate until, we already talked about this. Is there anything else here? First event, we already discussed about that. Let's see if there's anything else new maybe in this. UEFA's working on a number of projects. We already discussed about that. Nothing really here. All right, why do UEFA, Conmebol, and World Major Leagues oppose a biennial World Cup? This is good. Here, let's talk about this. Biennial World Cups would cost domestic leagues and UEFA around $8 billion in lost TV rights, match day agreements, and commercial agreements. This is according to a study commissioned by domestic leagues. The report focuses on the big 5 European leagues, MLS, Liga MX, J1 League in Japan, and the South African Premier Division. It concludes that even the last disruptive staging of biennial tournament would cost them billions annually. Additionally, UEFA have been in vocal opposition. In September, they warned of a dangerous associated with FIFA plans for a biennial World Cup, attacking the world governing body for waging a promotional campaign. Oh, see, guys, we're getting a civil war here between FIFA against UEFA and Conmebol. Now, when I think about this idea, competition-wise, it's just going to make even more UEFA and Conmebol much more stronger. They're going to make themselves so much stronger against CAF, AFC, and CONCACAF. What are those other three? I'm not even going to add Oceania, guys. I'm not. I think we can all agree with that. But what are the likes of CAF, CONCACAF, and AFC going to do about this? Are they going to try and go after UEFA and Conmebol and create their own sort of Nations League, or are they going to create their own sort of competition between those three confederations? Or are they just going to let Conmebol and UEFA dominate international football over and over again? This is the problem with this idea that the Conmebol and UEFA want to come up with. You're just going to take more money away from the likes of AFC, CAF, and CONCACAF, take it into your own pockets, make yourself stronger without getting the global football brand much stronger. So this is the problem with this idea, for me at least. It is hard to see a biennial World Cup becoming a reality when there is such a vociferous opposition from leagues and clubs. Nevertheless, FIFA ultimately answers to member associations, most of whom like the idea. The eventual outcome might be a fudge. Early in December, FIFA's president, Victor Montagliani, floated a potential compromise solution, according to Reuters, a new tournament loosely based on the old Confederations Cup, which took place in non-World Cup years. So yeah, guys, the year before the World Cup, the Confederations Cup would happen, would compete with all Confederation champions, and then obviously the last World Cup winner. This would be a smaller than a World Cup, but still give FIFA a big tournament in off years. Other ideas being mooted could be a global version of the Nations League. The UEFA tournaments intend to give a competitive edge to international friendlies, which has generally been deemed a success. Is there anything else here? Oh, there's even more. FIFA Club World Cup proposal suggested hosting one either every 2 or 4 years. While every 2 years may be too much, it may be a way of making one every 4 years seem more palatable, and big clubs might like it too. Guys, at the end of the day, this whole idea with the Nations League, with Conmebol joining the Nations League, means more money in the pockets of UEFA and Conmebol and taking less money away from FIFA and destroying their idea of having 2 World Cups every year. This is the whole idea with this Nations League and Conmebol. While I like the idea of giving, let's having more competition between other confederations where we don't just see it every 4 years, but we can see it every maybe 2 years or something like that. I like that kind of idea, but this is not the way to do it. This is all about money, money, and more money. Why do you think I had on my thumbnail, I had a bag full of money in front of Sheffrin's mouth? Because he's salivating at the idea of this. He's like, oh, we're going to have more money. We're going to produce more. We're going to produce bigger tournaments here in UEFA compared to what FIFA are going to do. FIFA can just have their World Cup and that's it. FIFA only really make money through the World Cup, guys. That's how they're able to get all these confederations into the idea of having every 2 World Cups. Basically, when we talk about a World Cup every 2 years, sorry, guys, if I'm looking that way, you understand I'm watching the game. But with a FIFA World Cup every 2 years, obviously, when you're thinking of smaller nations like, let's say, Guinea-Bissau or, Bangladesh or Tonga, these sort of nations will like to have a World Cup every 2 years because then it gives them much more opportunity to qualify for the tournament, have more money in their pockets, develop the game more in their country because they don't have the financial backing of their nation or their government or anything like that. Obviously, UEFA are going to oppose this because, let's be honest here, they're the biggest confederation with the most money, and same with Conmebol. That's why these two confederations are the only confederations to ever win the World Cup. So this whole idea is all about money, money, and more money. Give me your thoughts in the chat, guys. Get involved. We'd love to hear your thoughts about the proposal between Conmebol and UEFA. Diraj, thank you for tuning in. How are you doing? How are you doing? So, like The Athletic talked about, like Sky Sports talked about, this is only a proposal so far. If this does happen, we're going to see 6 of the top Conmebol teams qualify directly to the Nations League, League A. So let's guess those 5 nations. If we guess those 5 nations, it would be Brazil, Argentina, most likely Ecuador because they're doing very well at the moment, and maybe Colombia and Uruguay if they get their shit together. And then the 4 nations and then we need one more. So then it would be probably Peru, who are 6th best at the moment. And then the 4 nations that would drop down, Chile, Paraguay, Bolivia, and Venezuela in League B. I like seeing then Brazil and Argentina then playing all the time here in Europe. So we could see more interesting matchups where we could maybe see Argentina take on England or Brazil taking on Italy. I think we all like the idea. But what I don't like about the idea is just it's all about getting more money inside the pockets of Sheffrin and all these UEFA guys. That's it at the end of the day. I can't explain it much more simpler than that it's just money. And unfortunately, that's how football is going nowadays. This is kind of like, this proposal and idea is kind of like the Super League. Luckily, they didn't come out with their own website like the Super League did. Let's be honest here, because, oh my God, the Super League website was just an absolute joke. Their whole marketing and all that sort of stuff, it was a complete joke. This is sort of like a Super League idea because they want to get more money in their own pockets. Maybe the nations are suffering, or the confederations are suffering from, obviously, COVID, that they can't have full stadiums when they have their World Cup qualifiers, or they just want to have more and more money to push into their own nations. It's an interesting idea. Lautaro Daneri, thank you for tuning in. I've never seen you on the channel. Thank you for tuning in. Conmebol teams desperately need this. Brazil has literally not played any European team since the last World Cup. Argentina only a single friendly against Germany. I think these 2 nations desperately want this because they want to test themselves before, playing a World Cup. It's easy for Brazil and Argentina. Let's be honest here. They're the class of South America at this moment. Look at Brazil. They're undefeated still in World Cup qualifying. They've only drawn 1 game, and that was away to Colombia. Argentina, they haven't lost a game. They obviously want to be tested. But what about the other Conmebol nations? For me, I think this is actually a very good thing for Venezuela, for example, because Venezuela, they just get destroyed every time they play in World Cup qualifiers. They just play two tough opponents each and every time. Whereas maybe if they would play the likes of maybe, let's say, Slovenia, Montenegro, man, that would be so... I just thinking of the idea, seeing Venezuela take on Slovenia in Ljubljana, it just baffles me, really. It really does baffle me. So I think Venezuela will really benefit from this. Bolivia, not as much. I just think Bolivia just are very comfortable playing in Conmebol. They can play in their own stadium. That's good for Bolivia. Maybe Chile, Peru, they will like this idea. Same with Paraguay. But I just don't think the likes of Uruguay, Colombia, do they really want this? Do they really want this? I just think that Argentina and Brazil want this because of money. They just want to have, they know if they get a matchup like England versus Brazil, do you know how many people in Brazil are going to watch it? They're going to just sell so many tickets. They're going to have so many viewers. So many people are going to watch the ads. That just means more money for the federation at the end of the day. Ronaldo versus Messi. I see people talk about this, but I mean, like, it's going to be 2024. Are we going to even see this idea? You know, UEFA are going to try. They're desperate when there's the draw to get these two involved, just like they did it for the Champions League draw earlier this week. We just know that's going to happen. Chile probably also wants European team to make me fuming by losing. yeah, of course. Imagine if it was Sweden versus Chile. So it's a this is a new dawn for international football. This is a new dawn. This is a civil war, or a war between FIFA against UEFA and Conmebol to see whose idea will come out on top. Will FIFA's idea of having a World Cup every 2 years come up on top, where they can benefit that, they can get more money from it, because we know the World Cup is the most viewing event in the world? Or will UEFA and Conmebol come out victorious and have their Nations League, get more money involved in their pockets, while letting FIFA just dry, and just hanging on having a World Cup every 4 years? Time will tell. We still got about a couple of years until this idea may come true. But obviously, I talked about it, guys. Conmebol have a headquarters now in London. You can just see all the signs now brewing together when it comes to Conmebol and UEFA working together for a very long time, while leaving out the likes of CAF, CONCACAF, and AFC. It's just, for me, how are those other confederations going to react to this? What will CONCACAF do? Well, they have their own Nations League, but they don't have competition. There's only really 3 good teams in CONCACAF. 4. I'll add Panama because Panama have done quite well. You got USA, Mexico, Canada, and Panama. What will these 4 nations do? Will we see then USA, Canada, Mexico go to UEFA Nations League? That could be an idea. Well, then CAF. What will CAF do? Will they create their own Nations League? Another thing is here, when I was thinking about this, what about for then World Cup qualifiers with scheduling? For especially Conmebol, because we know Conmebol qualifiers takes years to do, because there's just so many games, there's so little time in the international break, so they have to play a lot of games in a short period of time, to be honest. Here, let me quickly just give you guys an example of this. Let me just get it up. Let's see here if it wants to work for me, because then you just see how many games there are in Conmebol when it comes to World Cup qualifiers. There's a lot. Guys, remember to hit the like button if you haven't already, and share your thoughts in the chat. To be honest, Sweden versus Chile would make me more excited. Well, obviously, if you're half Chilean and half Swedish, it's going to be a very weird game, to be honest, as well. But you'll be excited by it. You get something different. But do you feel good about it? It's like with the Super League idea. Do you think Liverpool and Inter fans, if they played against each other in the Super League, do you think they would really be into it? Or did they just know in the back of their minds, oh, this is all just for money. Why am I even here? This is just all for money. We're not going to benefit anything from this. Will the clubs benefit anything? No, just the owners will. And the head bodies of Conmebol, and UEFA, they're just seeing the light, and they just see a bunch of money in front of them, and they're just like, touch out and grab it. That's what they're doing. They just want to grab it and feel the money. They just want to feel the money. But let me just show you when it comes to Conmebol World Cup qualifiers. For example, let's quickly stop this here, and let's show you the scheduling then for Conmebol. Because if you guys don't really follow it, there are a lot of games. 8th of October 2020 to 29th of March 2022. And obviously, it would have started earlier, because usually there's 2 games per the international break for Conmebol and CONCACAF. But obviously, due to the COVID and just the tight scheduling that they have to fit 3 games in a week. So that's why this, for at least 2022, is a shorter time period. If we go back then to 2018, I'll show you how many years it takes. It takes about 2 years to do this qualification in Conmebol, because every team is in it, and they play 18 games in Conmebol. So how are they going to fit then? How are Conmebol going to fit the matches in the Nations League alongside this World Cup qualifying? Interesting thought, right? Have you thought about that? I don't think have because they want to play this in 2024, for example, right? World Cup's in 2026. 2024 to 2026, that's 2 years. What do you see in the scheduling right there with the dates? 2 years it takes to do the World Cup qualifiers in Conmebol. Where are they going to fit the matches? Somebody please explain to me. Where are they going to fix the matches? Lautaro says Conmebol will probably go back to the old qualification system pre-1998. Double round robin is pointless with 6.5 World Cup places. Let's actually quickly check about that. Let's look back at the 1998 World Cup qualifiers for Conmebol. We got to go all the way back, guys, all the way back. So 1994. Let's look here. So they had 2 groups. Okay, this is interesting. So they had 4 teams. It looked like they had 4 teams in each group. So no, they had 4 teams and 5 teams. What team was missing here? It looks like it was Chile. Yeah, Chile was missing in this. So then maybe if they would go back to this, because it seems like it's going to take a shorter time period to do these matches. Then let's look for example here. Let's see. So 1st of August 1993, and then they finished took only 2 months to do it. That's all it took. It took 2 months to finish. Boom. Teams qualified. Done. Easy. This is a possibility. This is maybe what Conmebol will want to do then in the future when it comes to these World Cup qualifiers. This is an idea. Thank you, Lautaro, for reminding this, because obviously if they join the Nations League, they would have to go back to this format of qualifying, because then this will take a shorter time period to do the matches. So interesting enough that Chile was banned, it seems like. Yeah. I just want to watch my Nations League play again, low or teams. And Chile was banned. Yeah, Chile was banned. It looks like here. Obviously, this is the only time that Bolivia qualified for the World Cup. I think this is going to benefit some teams in South America. And then for some teams in South America, it's kind of pointless, because why do we need to travel all the way to Europe? Because they said that that only the matches would take part in Europe. I don't know. You guys, just give me a quick yes or no. I think Sebastian said he likes the idea. Let me know in the chat. Do you like the idea? Just give me a yes or a no. I just want to hear your thoughts, because I don't really like the idea, because I just know what's behind this idea. I know what's behind it. It's money. Why do you think World Cup wants to have a World Cup every 2 years? FIFA. Why does FIFA want to have a World Cup every 2 years? It's money. Why do you think the smaller confederations, smaller nations in FIFA want to have a World Cup every 2 years? Money. This is how it's going to go. This is football nowadays. Unfortunately, this is what football has turned into. It's a money-making business. Money rules the world in every aspect of life, which is an unfortunate thing, but it's a reality that we have to kind of accept. It's a shame now that it's really in football nowadays, when you think about the Super League idea, when you think about this idea. But it looks like we're going to have to just accept it and see what the future holds for international football, especially, because let me just tell you something. If this plan goes ahead, UEFA and Conmebol, they will dominate this for a long, long time. They're going to absolutely dominate. And we already know that they are dominating, because they're the only 2 confederations to win the World Cup. Well, only 3 nations in South America have won World Cup: Uruguay, Argentina, and Brazil. But still, teams like Ecuador, teams like Uruguay, teams like Colombia, they're going to get stronger and stronger by playing top opposition in UEFA all the time. Maybe even Venezuela, who have never qualified for a World Cup, will benefit from this and get stronger and stronger, and eventually make their debut at the World Cup. It's all very interesting points, and it's all very fascinating to see what happens in the next couple of years between UEFA and Conmebol against FIFA. Lautaro does like the idea, but I'm talking purely from a South American point of view, Lo. So you can let me know, Lautaro, or actually where you're watching from as well. But do most of South Americans like this idea? Do they like playing against not just, because pretty much South Americans just play South Americans. That's how it pretty much goes. UEFA just plays against UEFA nations, and this is how it goes. So maybe South Americans, they're tired of seeing Chile against Peru, and they want to see Chile against Sweden, for example, like Sebastian, or Peru takes on, let's say, Hungary or Italy and these kind of teams. So it's interesting. I would have liked to have gotten some South American on with me, but unfortunately, I couldn't find anybody. I couldn't find anybody to just hear their point of view, because South American football, it's interesting when it comes to very competitive. Very, very competitive when you look at the Confederation, when you look at the Copa America. I think now there's been how many different winners in the last couple of editions? I know Brazil, Argentina, Chile won it back to back. You had Uruguay winning it. So you have a lot of different nations winning the Copa America. They want to get stronger. They want to compete with the likes of Argentina and Brazil, who constantly just produce talent after talent after talent, send them to Europe, and they get better and better and better. Maybe that will help. Maybe Colombia and Uruguay get us some young talent in those respective nations, send them to Europe, become superstars, represent their nation, and qualify for the World Cup and do well. International football is going to change, guys. Whether we like it or not, change is coming. And who will benefit from this in the long run? Will it be UEFA and Conmebol, or will FIFA come up with a new idea that will make UEFA and Conmebol happy, make their pockets happy? Time will tell, guys. Time will tell. But give me your thoughts in the chat. Kind of gotten now about 30 minutes discussing about this idea. It's going to be an interesting idea. I would like to see them, Brazil and Argentina, obviously take on different European nations. I think it's going to be a great idea. Hopefully, my team, Finland, guys, if you don't know, I live in Finland. If Finland would make it to League A, oh my God, if Brazil came here to play, I would go watch it. Of course I would. I think it would be amazing. But in the back of my mind, I know what it's about. I know what it's about. Money. Tristan, thank you for tuning in. Why don't confederations mix and match every cycle? All countries will get stronger and everyone will get paid. Everyone, the thing is, UEFA and Conmebol want to do this because they want to get paid. They don't want to see FIFA get paid. This is the problem we're having here, where two confederations who want to be merged into one. I think this is eventually what's going to happen. They're going to merge into one, UEFA and Conmebol. They'll have their separate big tournaments like UEFA Euros and Copa America. They'll have those separate tournaments where the nations compete in their own continent. They just don't want to merge with FIFA because they know FIFA want to have the World Cup every 2 years and make money through that. So this is all a political thing, and it's all about who wants to make the most money. That's the reason why we don't see a lot of matchups like African teams taking on CONCACAF teams or African teams taking on Asian teams. We don't see those matchups because FIFA don't really produce a competition to have those ideas except for the World Cup. And it's difficult because then we'll only see that once, maybe in the group stage. Otherwise, then in the round of 16, you pretty much just have UEFA and Conmebol nations. That's pretty much how it goes. Like, look at the last World Cup in the round of 16. There was no Asian teams. No, there was Japan. There wasn't no African teams got out of the group. And there was only one CONCACAF team, and that was Mexico. Otherwise, it was all Conmebol and UEFA. This is the things you have to think about when you're mixing and matching. Hopefully, in the future, we can all have a compromise between all these confederations, have a worldwide Nations League, have, bigger international breaks where it's not just like now where, there's international break in January, March, June, May. It seems like every month there's an international break, and I understand why clubs are frustrated by that. I would be frustrated too, where you work with the players for 3 weeks, they're gone for a week, they're here for 2 weeks, they're gone for 2 weeks. It's very disjointed, and there's no plan then when it comes to international football. And I think Arsene Wenger is trying to fix that and trying to come up with a good compromise where maybe we have international breaks for maybe 2 months of the year. You have 1 month in the summer and then 1 month maybe in November, October, some sort of timeline like that. This is ideas that I think will come true in the future. Junior Moscow, thank you for tuning in. He says, I want to see Brazil versus France. All right, man, I just want to see Brazil versus Finland. That's my dream. Or Argentina versus Finland. Oh, my God, I would die. I love Argentina national team. And obviously, I'm from Finland, so what better matchup than that? But I just know what's behind this idea, and it's called money, as we have discussed about already. So I think we've discussed long enough about this. It's been 30 minutes. If anybody wants to come on to the stream and give your ideas, you don't have to show your face. You can just have audio. Please let me know in the chat. I will more than welcome having people on as guests on the show. I think it would be a great idea. Remember, guys, if you haven't hit the like button, do so already on the stream. We got 7 likes. If we can get up to 10 likes, that would be fantastico. Fantastico. And we have 15 votes currently in the poll. 40% of you like the idea. All right. 33% of you said that both want money. You're kind of with me on that one. And 27% of you say no to the idea. All right. So we have a bit of, mix and matching when it comes to this idea. Some people like it, some people don't. It's interesting to see what happens in the future when it comes to international football. Will we get into a situation where Conmebol and UEFA will have their own tournament, like an idea of merging Copa America and Euros together? Maybe not, because those tournaments are so prestigious to the separate continents that I just don't see those two competitions merging together, where they'll make their own tournament and call it UEFA America, something like that. I don't know. Just that's an idea I have. I think that will be a discussion point that will be had between these two confederations in the future. While I will be very happy if Conmebol play in the Nations League. Okay, why would you be happy about that? Is it just because you want to see higher class matchups when it comes to international football? Like you want to see Brazil take on England or Brazil take on Germany 7-1? I had to remind Brazilians. Sorry, Brazilians, I had to remind you. Or do you want to see Argentina take on Italy? Well, we're going to see that next summer. Or Argentina take on Portugal. You want to see Spain take on Colombia, Uruguay. Is that why you want to just see higher class matchups? Or, just give me your thoughts why you want to see the matchup between the two confederations. And like I've discussed about, Conmebol want to do this because they want to get their nations better when it comes to football. And FIFA are definitely losing power when it comes to these two confederations. They cannot control these two guys. All FIFA can control are CAF, AFC, and CONCACAF. CONCACAF have their own Nations League. Will we see something in the future where CONCACAF will merge with Africa? I mean, logistically, the traveling, it doesn't make no sense whatsoever. And you're going to ask maybe, let's say, Grenada from the Caribbean travel to, let's say, Sierra Leone or something like that. I just don't see that happening. The confederations and the nations don't have those sort of money to do that traveling. So let's see. I think it's easier for Conmebol because a lot of the players from the nations play in Europe, unlike, except for Bolivia, who pretty much all their players play in South America. So it's difficult to say. It's very difficult to say. If this happens, FIFA will lose the little power they have left. I've been trying to say that, bro. I've been trying to say that, Tristan. If this idea happens, FIFA are done. They're done. They're done out of here. They won't have their World Cup every 2 years. They will only have their World Cup every 4 years. They'll try and come up with something with the Club World Cup. FIFA will just lose everything. They'll lose everything. And this is not what they want. They want to control international football. They want to have the most power they can in controlling everything and have the money come to themselves and put it in their pockets. Yeah. Doug, thank you for tuning in. He says, no, this is a stupid idea. Don't you want to see Scotland take on Brazil? It was 1998 World Cup. Congratulations on 1,000. Thank you very much, Doug. Thank you very much. Yeah, guys, we hit 1,000 subscribers a couple of days ago. Thank you, everybody. I've already thanked in the last video, but I'll say it again. Thank you very much, guys. It means a lot. The channel keeps on growing, and 2022 is going to be a big year with obviously Champions League continue, Europa League, Conference League, and of course, that little tournament called the World Cup in November. Should be awesome. Junior says, Argentina versus Italy, a match I want to see. Well, we're going to see it next June in London. I don't know why he's played in London. I don't get it. Wouldn't you want to play in Napoli at the Diego Armando Maradona Stadium? Wouldn't that make more sense? I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know why it's in London, but hey, what do I know? I'm just the guy with the scarf behind me, web camera in front of me, with a white wall behind me. It doesn't make any sense. Undecided says he wants to see Germany take on Argentina. Well, that would be a rematch of the 2014 World Cup final. Still scars me. That final still scars me. If you guys don't know, I love the Argentina national team. So if the USA or Finland don't qualify, or if the USA get knocked out early in the competition, I'm rooting for Argentina. That 2014 World Cup final really scarred me. Freaking Higuain couldn't finish his chances. God damn it, Gonzalo Higuain. I will never forgive him. I will never, ever forgive him. But this is the sort of matchups we'll get. I don't know. I think I've said enough about this competition. Do you guys want to see some match previews for tomorrow matches? Please let me know in the chat. I'll stay a little bit longer. I've gone 35 minutes on this topic. I think that's enough because at the end of the day, this is a proposal still. It's not finalized, but it could be something in the works starting next year. I think they'll announce it before the World Cup. I think that's what UEFA and Conmebol want to do. But this is a long-term merging between these two confederations, and it's just a matter of what will FIFA do next. Conmebol and UEFA, they're going all in with the poker chips. Now, will FIFA fold, or will they call their all in as well? Time will tell. Time will tell, guys. But there are matches being played. Some matches being played in Europe today. Obviously, with the whole COVID issue at the moment around the world, hopefully everybody just stays safe. That's the main thing, guys. Just stay safe and just stay home and just, I don't know, watch some football. I think that right now there is the Arab Cup final between Algeria and Tunisia. So there's a good, it's on YouTube as well. It's free, guys. Go watch it. It's free at the moment. So I think it's still 0-0. I'm quickly checking what the score is between Algeria and Tunisia. Let's quickly check here. It is 0-0 still. All right, so 0-0. And Qatar beat Egypt early in the third place match. Very cool, very cool. Obviously, the Arab Cup has actually been a very good success this year. Oh, actually, Undecided talked about it. FIFA Arab Cup final on now. Thoughts? Yeah, it's 0-0 at the moment between Algeria and Tunisia. And guys, next couple of days, I will be having a good preview of the AFCON. I don't know if I'm going to have it live or if I'm going to pre-record it. Maybe I'll have it live. We can get we'll get some, I'm trying to get some guests, but you know, there's really not a lot of people wanting to talk about the AFCON. They rather, you know, demise the AFCON. You say, oh, it's not a good idea. It's not a good idea to have it mid-season. I like the AFCON. I think it's a great competition. The only ever time that the African Cup of Nations has never been taken part in the winter is the last edition in Egypt in the summer. But I don't think people in Europe understand, or people, you know, outside of Africa understand that logistically, it's hell having it in the summer. Do you know how hot it gets in certain parts? It's like Qatar hosting the World Cup. It's impossible having it in the summer. It's just way too hot. It's way too rigorous on the players. What do the players think? I don't think the players would want to play it in the summer. I mean, do you want to play in 35 Celsius and in 100% humidity almost? Hell no. Count me out. I don't want any part of that. You're just gonna be so exhausted. So that's why the AFCON is hosted in the winter. The climates are a little bit more easy to deal with. Obviously now, with all the players and all the COVID issues and all this sort of stuff, people want to have a voice about it, especially Liverpool fans. I'm a Liverpool fan. Does it suck that Salah and Mane and Keita are going to go represent their nations mid-season and miss a couple of Premier League games, miss a FA Cup and miss a League Cup? Yes, of course it does. It does suck. But I like the African Cup of Nations. I've watched this since I was a kid on a free channel here in Finland. I've always liked the idea. I've always found it so interesting seeing nations like Equatorial Guinea do well, make it to the semifinals, or see nations like Zambia win the AFCON. I like these ideas. But it's just because Liverpool are doing so well, fans are just pissed off, and Mohamed Salah is having an amazing season, and fans are just pissed off that he has to go mid-season and go somewhere. I understand why fans are frustrated by that, but you have to respect the players and you have to respect the competition. If this was the Euros, people would have no problem. People would be quiet, throw the key away. They would be quiet about this. But because it's AFCON, they don't want their players to go. That's just my point of view. You guys can give me your thoughts if you're watching this on replay or in the chat. But it's interesting. Junior Moscow is asking, Finland are qualifying for the World Cup. Unfortunately, we're not. Finland got bounced out last in the group stage, with Ukraine finishing second in the group, so they went to the playoffs. And unfortunately, Finland lost to France at home, and we're out of the World Cup. We've never qualified for the World Cup. We focus on the Euros, trying to make it to back-to-back European championships. Obviously, the last Euros, which was this summer, as you guys can see by the scarf here, when Finland played against Belgium, I was at the match, was our only ever appearance at a major competition. So hopefully Finland can qualify to a Euros again, and I can go to Germany where the Euros will be hosted. That's my dream. Who are 5 African countries going to the World Cup? Sorry for my English. Don't worry, bro. No, you don't apologize. You give me your thoughts. I'm horrible at English too, and that's my native language. Who are 5 Okay, so if you guys haven't seen on the channel, actually, let me get it up. I'll show you guys. I don't know if I can show the video, but I did a 32 teams World Cup prediction where I predicted the 32 nations that I think qualify for the World Cup. The 5 nations I have from Africa qualifying to the World Cup are Algeria, Senegal, Tunisia, I think it was Nigeria, and the last one was, oh my God, what was the last nation? What was the last nation? Oh my God, give me an idea. Give me an idea. Morocco. Those are the 5 nations I predicted qualifying for the World Cup from Africa. And obviously, the CAF World Cup playoffs draw will happen after the AFCON. And why is that a big deal? It's a big deal because if a certain nation, like let's say Egypt or Ghana or Nigeria, they do well, or okay, actually Ghana and Egypt, and let's say, what was the other nation? What was the other nation? I'm trying to think here, guys. Let's say, oh man, Mali. If those 3 nations do well in the AFCON, their FIFA rankings points go up and they'll go higher in the FIFA rankings. Why is that important? Because then, obviously, there's pot 1 and pot 2. In pot 1, the 5 nations ranked highest in the FIFA rankings will be in pot 1 in the African World Cup playoffs, while obviously the last 5 are in pot 2. So this is a big thing, the AFCON, when it comes to the World Cup playoffs as well. You have to perform well at the AFCON if you're the last 10 teams remaining in the playoffs for CAF when it comes to qualifying for the World Cup. So these are all the things. And where are you watching from, Junior Moscow? Where are you watching? Let me know. All right, guys. Well, we've discussed a lot today. We've discussed about Conmebol and UEFA doing it for money. We've discussed about, obviously, then the matchups that we could see. We've discussed about then, obviously, Arab Cup final that is taking place at the moment. It is still 0-0 between Tunisia and Algeria. Man, they got a lot of viewers on there. They got 186,000 people watching the Arab Cup final. I think it's been actually a very good and successful tournament. Seems like fans enjoy it. Seems like the players really enjoy it. Obviously, there's not too many European-based players. Obviously, there's certain players who, they don't play in the top 5 leagues. I think there is the one youngster from Manchester United who's representing Tunisia. I cannot remember his name at the moment, but he is representing Tunisia at this moment, and he is a baller. I can't remember his name, though, but he's got long hair. Kind of looks like Guendouzi almost. Oh, you're watching from Le Francais. He's watching from France. Thank you for tuning in. See, guys, we're an international channel here on the Michael Talks Football channel. Obviously, goddamn France knocked out Finland out of the World Cup, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Obviously, I didn't think Finland would qualify for the World Cup, but you can always dream. You can always dream, can't you? I think it is still 0-0 between the 2 nations. Good final we got going on in the FIFA Arab Cup, but Hannibal. His name is Hannibal. Okay. Is it? Let me quickly check here. I think it is. I think his name is that. He's a very promising youngster. I think he's only like 18 years old. Hannibal Medjibri. I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah. Thank you for letting me know, Tristan. Yeah, so he's only a youngster, 18 years old, representing Tunisia at the Arab Cup. He had a very good game in the semifinal against Egypt. Very dramatic as well. But yeah, guys, do we want to see some match previews of tomorrow's matches across Europe? Let me know in the chat. Obviously, then if you're watching this on replay, I'll be cutting them out. I'll make them into clips after this live stream. Maybe we'll have a watch along for Leeds United against Arsenal. But that's just a maybe because we don't know if it's even going to be played. And the whole COVID issue at the moment is just raging through all the Premier League clubs and all League One and League Two and Championship clubs. I mean, all the games in Italy are taking place. I think all the games in Ligue 1 are taking place. I think all the games in La Liga are going to take place. I know Real Madrid have a little bit of a COVID outbreak at the moment, but I think all these other leagues are going to be played today. Let me quickly check here. Oh, actually, there was one other thing I wanted to talk about, guys. Let me quickly get it up here. Okay, let me quickly get it up. Because there's got to be soon a video about this. There has to be a video soon about this. This cannot continue. Unfortunately. All right, guys, let me quickly get it up here. Yeah, we'll talk about this game. Napoli versus AC Milan should be a good watch. Should be a fantastic watch. Unfortunately, but both teams are faltering at the moment. Inter now have a 4-point lead in Serie A, and AS Roma just destroyed Atalanta 4-1. Wow, that's a statement from Jose Mourinho. That is a statement. Who's been a little bit, not the greatest, shall we say, but Jose got a big victory. 4-1 away. Tammy Abraham scoring 2 goals and Chris Smalling getting a goal. The British contingent are doing well for AS Roma and Jose Mourinho. But I want to discuss about this, guys. We need to discuss about this because this is getting out of hand when it comes to France. Oh, there we go. More crowd trouble. More crowd trouble when it comes to French football. It is such a shame. It really is a shame. Paris FC versus Lyon. Obviously, Paris FC play in League Two, while Lyon play in League One, of course. Lyon, they got to get their act together. They got to get their act together on the field and off the field. This is troubling news. Cup tie abandoned as crowd violence mars another game in France. Another one, guys. This is not long after what happened between Lyon and Marseille. This is not long after what happened. Such a shame once again. So let's quickly talk about it. Friday's match was just the latest incident of fan problems in French football this season. Lyon's French Cup match against Paris FC on Friday had to be abandoned at halftime because of crowd trouble, the latest in string of violent incidents to mar French football this season. It is just such a shame right now. Trouble broke out between the two sets of supporters during halftime at the Charletti Stadium in Paris. The pitch invasion occurred soon after making a restart impossible, with the decision eventually taken to abandon the game shortly after. Oh my God, what happened? Fighting broke out between the supporters during the halftime break, with flares being thrown and fireworks set off. Yeah, I think it was Lyon fans throwing flares at the Paris FC fans. Oh my God. When police attempted to intervene, fans began to spill onto the pitch, forcing the players and officials who were ready to start the second half to return to the dressing room. Yeah, it was a crazy scene where you just see all the fans go onto the field. I think it was the Lyon fans, but I'm not going to make any assumptions here. You guys can let me know in the chat or in the comments. The supporters were eventually cleared off the pitch as the police attempted to restore calm, but the decision was eventually taken to abandon the game, with the stadium announcer urging the fans in the stands to leave the stadium. The game was level at 1-1, with Gaëtan Laur's early strike for Paris FC cancelled out by Moussa Dembele shortly before the break. Presidents blame each other. Here we go. Lyon President Jean-Michel Aulas and Paris FC President Pierre Ferracci both appeared to blame each other for the crowd trouble that led to abandonment of the game. Speaking to RMC Sports, Ferracci said, "I think it is Jean-Michel Aulas' interest to weigh up the pros and cons, well, because he has a group of fanatics who should be nowhere near a football pitch." So the Paris FC president is coming with fire and shots at the Lyon president. Aulas is clever enough to know that his club has problems and that French football will have problems if it continues like this. Guys, we have seen so much crowd trouble. Let's continue with this. In giving his side of events, Aulas said the responsibilities are shared. It is a societal problem. The first firecrack thrown were onto Lyon fans, and therefore were not done by Lyon fans. Then there was a rebellion. We also saw on the pitch hundreds of people who are not Lyon people. We need to analyze and find those responsible. We will sanction them, but we cannot take all the responsibility. The bigger picture here, French football has been dodged by crowd violence and hostility towards players this season. A lot of crowd trouble here, guys. Lyon were ducked a point in Ligue 1 last month because their clash with Marseille was abandoned after Marseille midfielder Dimitri Payet was hit by a water bottle thrown from the crowd. Marseille's match with Nice was also abandoned in August following another incident involving Payet. Poor old Marseille, man. They have been in so much crowd trouble this year. And Lyon, obviously, it's going to be a whole investigation to see who's at fault for this. Is it the Lyon fans who have already caused themselves troubles with the last match with Marseille, in which Dimitri Payet got hit by a bottle? Or is it going to be Paris FC fans who are in trouble if they instigated this whole situation? Marseille's match with Nice was also abandoned. Yep. Former West Ham man narrowly avoided a water bottle thrown at him from the stands and furiously threw it back into the crowd, sparking a stream of ultras jumping over the advertising boarding to take to the pitch. Further games involving Montpellier, Lens, Lille, Angers, and Bordeaux have also been overshadowed by crowd violence, both inside and outside the stadiums. It's such a shame because you know what? Ligue 1 is actually very entertaining this year. Obviously, PSG are completely, they're in control of the league. They have a massive point edge over second place. I think it's Marseille at the moment who are in second place. But then if you look from second to, let's say, I think it was 12th or 11th, separated by 5 points. We have just seen too much of this now in French football. I'm not from France. I'm not an expert when it comes to how to deal with crowds. But if you're the French Football Federation, you need to come with harsher sanctions. You just need to. There is no other option here. If you keep on giving these little pats on the back or little tap on the finger, just saying, "Oh, here's just a 2 games without a crowd in it, and here's €100,000 fine," you're just going to see the same issues happen. You're just going to see the same issues happen. I don't know what to tell you. Unfortunately, is it a societal problem, or is it that, let's say, security can't keep in control? I don't know what to tell you because I'm not at the stadium. I don't know how the crowds are reacting, how maybe if away fans shouldn't be with home fans, if that's the case. But then if you look at home fans, they still throw the water bottles and this sort of stuff at players. It's just a horrible situation. It's sad because it's not about the football when it comes to French football. Everybody making jokes. Oh, it's a farmers league. It's a farmers league. It's not a farmers league. It's not. The 2 teams from Ligue 1 in the Champions League this year qualified to the round of 16. That's more than the Bundesliga. That's equal to La Liga. So don't call it a farmers league. You look at the Europa League. Lyon destroyed their group. They won every game. No, they didn't lose a game. They drew with Rangers in the last matchup. Okay, Marseille, they did terrible. What can we do about it? You look at Monaco, they finished second in their group, qualified to the round of 16. No, they actually finished first in their group. You look at the Conference League, you look at Stade Rennes, top in the group with Tottenham. So you cannot call this a farmers league. But the problem with French football at the moment is we see too much of these incidents when it comes to crowds. And that's just overshadowing the good football that we see in Ligue 1. You look at Lens, for example, a very good attacking side who play attractive football, but we don't talk about that. What do we talk about? We talk about what incidents occurred over the weekend when it comes to crowd. If French football, want to be respected, I think the play on the field is respected, but you have to control these fans. You have to. It's just hooliganism. I cannot say the word. Hooligans. That's a better way to say it. They need to be controlled. You don't control them. These sort of issues will occur over and over and over again. Unfortunately to see. What is the best World Cup you have watched? Ooh. I would say 2014 World Cup was pretty epic. That was pretty epic. Really a lot of things going on here. Does that match get replayed, or if guilty, Lyon or Paris lose? So apparently Lyon, from what I'm reading, not just this article, but other ones, that Lyon will have to forfeit this and lose to Paris FC. Lyon, they're having a terrible season. They're like 13th in Ligue 1. It's been a terrible season from Olympique Lyon with a lot of quality players, but now their fans are costing them as well. They can't have a home crowd. They're being deducted points. I think they were deducted 1 point. Will it be even further? Obviously, this is a cup match, so it doesn't really matter. But man, it's just such a shame to see. French football is beautiful. We see always great talent coming out of it, but we don't talk about that. We talk about the crowds. They need to sort this out ASAP. AD, thank you for tuning in. It's a sad situation what we have on our hands at the moment. Please, just somebody fix this in French football. You must fix this immediately, or else it will get worse. It will get worse if you do not fix this. Interesting, guys. When you look actually at the French Cup, let me quickly show you guys. It's a pretty cool tournament. Let's just quickly, I'll show you guys why. But they need to sort this out immediately. I think they're not going to play this game anymore, but we'll see about that. Hans, thank you for tuning in. He said it's all about the money. Exactly, bro. Exactly. I know. I already talked about the Nations League, guys. If you want to watch it again, you got to start all the way at the beginning, because now I'm talking about other things. RSVD, thank you for tuning in. Sería muy épico. Sí, sería. Está muy bien. La partido de la Atalanta y Roma. ¿Qué partido? See, guys, I can speak a little bit of Spanish. I can't speak Italian. Maybe it's Italian, but Serie A is a pretty good league. Let's be honest here. But thank you for tuning in, RSV. Muchas gracias. But I'm talking now, guys, about French football. We saw more violence last night. I already discussed about Lyon. They're in a world of trouble here. They're in a world of trouble again. Or is it going to be Paris FC who have to forfeit the match? I don't know. But The French football have to get their act together. Otherwise, this will continue and continue. And just hopefully you don't see a situation like Hillsborough for Liverpool fans. I don't think that will happen because, we have good, stadium infrastructure and all that sort of stuff. But you could see a situation like, unfortunately, what we saw in Egypt about a decade ago when fans attacked other fans, and it was just, unfortunately, just bloodshed everywhere. So many fans died. I think it was over 100. Hopefully it doesn't take it to that situation where then French football have to react and do something about this. Hopefully it doesn't. It just hopefully it doesn't. Yeah, in France, there is shit going on this season. They need the stricter rules. It is unacceptable. It really is unacceptable. I agree. It's going to come to a horrible situation happening before they actually have stricter laws. You'll see. I don't obviously I do not wish it would happen, but it might have to take to it. And I don't want that to happen because it's a scary situation what we have on our hands. But quickly, guys, I want to talk about the Coupe de France because it's actually a very interesting tournament. It's a very interesting tournament because, guys, we're just talking about anything football today. So, there's no real Premier League. There's not really any big matches. Maybe we'll discuss about Feyenoord versus Ajax and maybe AC Milan taking on Napoli, but that's about it because, I can't really discuss about the Premier League because I don't even know if it's even happening. But quickly about with the Coupe de France, look at all these interesting matchups we have here. You have a 7th division team taking on a 4th division team. You have Bordeaux taking on a team from like, I think, Guadalupe or something like this, the other sovereignties. I think that's a word for it in English. Sovereignties, I think it is. The island nations of France. When you think of, oh my God, I'm trying to think of the one in the Pacific. Oh my God, what is it called? What is it called? It's not Tahiti. Is it Tahiti? It might be Tahiti. I can't remember, guys. But you have a lot of these clubs that are coming far away, way far from the mainland of France, coming to France and playing the likes of Bordeaux. Such an interesting tournament, really is. You have obviously Paris FC, Lyon being suspended. I'm trying to find the PSG. They're taking on here we go. PSG are taking on a 5th division team. What the heck? You don't see this. Maybe in the Coppa Italia, you don't really see this. La Coppa del Rey, you kind of see this. FA Cup, very kind of rare. You see this maybe once every 3 seasons. But here in the Coupe de France, you see it all the time. Where just lower division teams taking on lower division teams. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, a couple of years ago, there was the 6th division team taking on PSG in the final. So the Coupe de France, very interesting tournament. Hopefully it's just not marred by crowd violence. Hopefully it's not, because it's a shame. It really is a shame. A lot of excellent talent comes from fans. But if it's just going to be overshadowed by fans being idiots, because that's what they are. They're being idiots. They're not there to enjoy the match and cheer on their team. They just want to have violence. That's not a reflection of the whole fan base, but it's a reflection of a little bit of the fan base. So they need to sort their shit together. The French arguably have the best players on the planet. If these incidents don't stop soon, it'll just drive the players away and ultimately weaken the league. You couldn't say it any better than that, Tristan. You couldn't say it any better than that. That is 100% factos. 100% factos. It has to stop. Players are just going to be, why would I want to stay here? I don't feel safe on the pitch. What's the purpose of me being on the pitch? Yeah, it's just a sad situation what we have on our hands here. Hopefully it gets sorted out. Hopefully French football can overcome this and just be stricter with their laws. They have to. If they don't become stricter with their laws, French football, you're just going to see crowd violence over and over again. But now, guys, let's preview some games for tomorrow. Obviously, today, Premier League, they're just in a whole lot of trouble with the COVID. I like this idea. If this is to avoid a World Cup every 2 years, okay, all right. If you say that about the Nations League and the Conmebol, fair enough, AD. I just know what this idea is all about. It's about money. But it's the same thing with the World Cup every 2 years. It's about money. So maybe the Nations League with Conmebol is a good idea to not have a World Cup every 2 years. But at the end of the day, it's all about the money. I've already talked about it for 30 minutes, so you guys understand that. But let's talk about maybe some games that are happening tomorrow. Obviously, AS Roma defeated Atalanta today 4-1, which is a big victory for AS Roma when it comes to their, aspirations of getting a top four finish this year in Serie A. And especially Jose, he's going to be gloating about it. Oh, I got a 4-1 win away at Bergamo. Who else did that? I don't know. I don't know, Jose. I don't know. I don't know. But let's talk about some games for tomorrow in the world of Fujibol. Jalkapallo, as we say here in Finland. Obviously, guys, there is only one game going to be played today in the Premier League. Oh my God, the COVID is ravaging all these English sides. But Julian Laurent talked about this. If you guys don't know Jules, he is a ESPN FC journalist. And he talked about, he didn't specify the club, but he did say that there were a lot of Premier League players who went out to clubs last week. They didn't care about COVID issues. They didn't care about the COVID restrictions. They went out and partied. What do you see this week? A whole bunch of COVID positive issues, and clubs are just ravaged by the COVID issues. And what do we see? We see a lot of games now being postponed. Now, I'm no freaking doctor. I'm no COVID expert. I'm no pandemic expert. But they're just not testing enough, it seems like, in the Premier League. They're not doing daily testing. If you look, for example, in the NFL, for example, they do mandatory tests 4 days a week in the NFL. 4 days a week. I think in the Premier League, they were doing only 1 or 2. With the money that they have, they should be doing daily testing. And I don't want to hear nothing about that. They have enough money to do it. They have full crowds. You got your money. You got the TV's deals. You should have no problems, Premier League, paying for testing and enough testing almost every day. But it's just not enough. If the players don't care, if the clubs don't care about the restrictions, you're going to have these issues with COVID. And what do we see? Only 4 games at the moment, because it could be that all of these games get postponed. We won't have any Premier League football this weekend, which is pretty amazing indeed. But yeah, it's a pretty interesting issue we have on our hands with the COVID. I heard the vaccination rate is 68. I'm not going to talk about vaccines. This is not a freaking pandemic YouTube channel. This is a football channel, but unfortunately COVID is back ravaging some football clubs around the world. Look, do you get vaccinated? Do you not get vaccinated? I'm not going to talk about that. I think you've heard enough about that crap. It's your own choice. In the Premier League, I don't think they've promoted it enough to who wants to be vaccinated. But I don't think it's a vaccination problem. It's a testing problem. It's what protocols are you taking to avoid having an outbreak at your club? I think those are the more bigger issues than actually vaccine, And if you guys hear some noise, that's my dog going crazy. Yeah, good boy. So it's a situation on our hands that we should not be dealing with. Bidon, thank you for tuning in. Also, the mafia bosses at Conmebol found a new money cow to milk. Bidon, I've talked about this already today earlier in the stream. So sorry, we've kind of moved on. I could have went along and longer about the Conmebol and the new idea with Nations League, but I agree. It's all about money. But what is it also with the World Cup every 2 years? It's about money. It's all about money nowadays in football. It's a sad sight to see. Don't be sorry, AD. It's a good thing you did. Now, this is just the Super League mode from Superstar Soccer Deluxe. I said that. I said that the Nations League with Conmebol is just another idea of a Super League. But this is the International Football Super League. This is the exact same thing going on at the moment. Oh, man. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. This world is absolutely insane. But these are the matches that should be played in the Premier League tomorrow. Newcastle United and Man City should be an easy victory for Man City. Wolves versus Chelsea. We'll see if the match is played. I kind of fancy Wolves in that matchup because Chelsea obviously missing their 2 strikers, Timo Werner, Romelu Lukaku, Hudson-Odoi, all testing positive for the vid. And Wolves a very strong outfit. They're going to make it. It's only going to be a 1-goal game because Wolves don't concede goals, and hell, they don't score goals. So that's the issues. And then we have Tottenham versus Liverpool. Now, I don't know what to really expect in this matchup because who the hell is going to play for both teams? Will Liverpool get more positive cases because they obviously had some positive cases for Thursday's match? Who's going to play for Tottenham? This is another thing when it comes to the Premier League and the COVID. They don't tell you what players have tested positive. I don't understand. I don't understand. Just tell us the damn players. It's not going to hurt their feelings. It's not going to hurt the feelings of the fans. Just be honest with us. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know why the Premier League are trying to hide this. Just tell us. It doesn't hurt anybody telling them. Oh, God. Once there's money, once their money is affected, the vaccination and testing will happen more regularly. Why should fans need to be vaccinated in the stadiums but not players? Exactly, Tristan. Exactly. Why do you need to have a COVID passport? Shouldn't the players have a COVID passport to enter the stadium as well? Guys, I'm not a COVID expert. I'm not going to tell you to get vaccinated or not vaccinated. But, in some countries, you need to have a freaking COVID passport. Do I agree with it? That's for me to hold my own opinions. You guys have your own opinions. But I don't want to force anybody to do anything. But if the Premier League want to have matches played, because it seems like the Premier League, I've talked about this, with private messages. Premier League want to play Boxing Day. Do you know why? It's the biggest money maker for the Premier League. That day, they have most of the matches on TV. They want to make so much money from that day. If matches are canceled or postponed, they won't make any money. They're trying their best. They're trying their most. They're trying their greatest to get the games played on Boxing Day. Trust me, guys. Trust me when it comes to this. They'll play the Boxing Day matches. After that, they might suspend it then for 2 weeks to get, more testing involved and more protocols involved so we don't have more COVID outbreaks. You'll see. You'll see what happens. Man, I cannot wait for Liverpool under 20 against Tottenham under 15. Oh, God. Oh, God. Yeah, I think that's the issue with Tottenham and Liverpool. To be honest, I don't think the game is going to be played. And another thing, Premier League, get your shit together and don't postpone a match 3 hours before kickoff. Really smart. Yeah, really smart. We're going to force fans from Burnley travel down to Aston Villa. Oh, while they're in the coach, maybe they get to Birmingham, which is obviously where Aston Villa is, 3 hours before the game played. So it's just a stupid. Fans are going to lose money because they already paid for the bus tickets to go to the game. They paid for a lot of things. Maybe they even paid for a hotel. Who knows? Premier League just don't have their shit together. They don't know how to deal with it. Maybe it's a reflection of the British government. They don't know what they're doing either when it comes to this. But it's hard to preview this Tottenham-Liverpool game. We don't know what players are going to be played. If Liverpool are going to have most of their first-team players, if there's no other COVID outbreak, COVID positive cases coming in, Liverpool should win this game. We just don't know what Tottenham players are going to play. We don't know what Tottenham players have been tested positive. Even if both teams, if they were fully fit, starting 11, Liverpool should win the game 3-1 still. Except, Antonio Conte's Tottenham have improved recently. It still should be a Liverpool win. They're on fire. They're on absolute fire. The Newcastle game, it should have been 6-1 or 7-1. They were on absolute fire in the match, Liverpool. But we're going to find out here. But let me go back to the poll. 36 votes. Funny, we have 36 votes, but not only 11 likes. Come on, guys. We can get the likes up on the video. Do you like the idea? 47% of you said yes, 25% of you said no, and 28% of you said both want money. I'm with the both want money. I'm on that bracket. That's my nose is itchy, guys. I have a little bit of a flu. It's not COVID, thankfully. Other games, there's Granada taking on Mallorca, Bilbao taking on Real Betis, Getafe taking on Osasuna, Real Madrid, of course, dealing with their own COVID outbreak, are taking on Cadiz. We'll see what type of Real Madrid side are going to be played. And then there are the last 2 Bundesliga matches of this year before they head into their winter break. I think Bundesliga are happy. You know what? Let's get to a winter break. Hopefully we can get some fans back into the stadium after it. There's Freiburg taking on Bayer Leverkusen and FC Köln taking on Stuttgart. In the Serie A, there is Fiorentina taking on Sassuolo, Spezia taking on Empoli, Sampdoria taking on Venezia, Torino versus taking on Hellas Verona, and then the big one. Let's preview this game, guys. I think we got to preview a matchup. And thankfully, this match will be happening unless there's some COVID outbreak between these two sides. Let's see. Hopefully there isn't. But Let's preview it. Let's preview. AC Milan taking on Napoli at the San Siro. Big game for Napoli as well. They got to pick up some momentum heading into this game. It's been a troubling couple of weeks for Napoli. A lot of players injured. Let's quickly look at the players injured. No Plizare, no Calabria, no Simon Kjaer, no Pellegrini, no Rafael Leao, and no Ante Rebic for AC Milan. And for Napoli, no Fabian Ruiz, no Koulibaly. I've been reading somewhere that Victor Osimhen has had a good recovery to his horrible orbital injury. Victor Osimhen, it says out. He's been back in training now, I think, for a week. So Victor Osimhen could be on the bench for this game, which is pretty remarkable considering he should have been out till February. So Victor Osimhen, it was a horrible injury he had against Inter. Let's see. Let's see if Victor Osimhen, if he doesn't play in this game, he'll be back in a couple weeks for sure. So good news for Napoli fans. If you look at the standings right now, Inter, they're on absolute roll. Inter Milan are on absolute roll. They have won, I don't know how many games in a row now in the Serie A. They have a 4-point edge over AC Milan. They currently have a 7-point edge over Napoli. Remember, guys, when the roles were reversed a couple weeks ago, Inter were 7 points behind Napoli. They could go now 7 points ahead of Napoli. Oh, how the tables turn. Simone Inzaghi's side are playing some fantastic football. They got a 3-0 win yesterday. You got to give it to this Inter side, man. They're on absolute roll. Milan and Napoli, they got to win this game. They got to keep up with Inter because Inter are looking like they're going to take the Scudetto once again, be back-to-back winners. Should be an amazing matchup here between Milan and Napoli. If you look at their recent results, obviously Milan drawing with Udinese 1-1, Ibrahimovic scoring an absolutely ridiculous acrobatic goal for a 40-year-old man. Unbelievable. The old karate man. Then obviously Milan lost to Liverpool 2-1. They beat Salernitana. They beat Genoa. They should beat those teams. They're terrible. And they lost to Sassuolo at home. Recent matches for Napoli, they lost 1-0 to Empoli. Not a good performance. Anguissa giving up the goal there. I think he headed it back to the Empoli player. And then, they came away with the 1-0 victory. Then we have Napoli beating Leicester City. Great victory for Napoli. They advanced to the Europa League. They'll be taking on Barcelona in the knockout round. They obviously lost to Atalanta at home. They had the 2-1 lead. They gave it up. They drew with Sassuolo 2-2, and they beat Lazio 4-0. So this is a big game for both teams. With Pioli's side, they're ravaged now with injuries at the back. Romagnoli, he's an okay center back. Tomori is the leader nowadays. Kalulu, Theo Hernandez. These are the players, especially Theo Hernandez, has to step up now. He's had a bit of a quiet season. He needs to come up big in this matchup. Obviously, in the midfield, you have Tonali and Frank Kessie. Very good midfielders, especially Tonali. Frank Kessie has been a little bit not the best as he was last season. Give me a second, guys. Give me a second. I hope he's not soon. Sorry, guys. The dog is going crazy in my household. Then, obviously, this is my problem with AC Milan. They just have no wingers. I mean, you're going to play Krunic and Salamakos as the two wingers. Obviously, this is a predicted lineup for if you guys don't know. They need to have better wing play from AC Milan. Obviously, you got Zlatan, man. Zlatan is just doing what Zlatan does, scoring goals for fun. For Napoli, Giovanni Di Lorenzo, you got Ospina, Rahmani, Juan Jesus. They're definitely missing Koulibaly at the moment. And if you guys didn't know, Manolas is gone from Napoli. He has signed now with Olympiacos back in Greece. So good signing for Olympiacos. And was when Manolas and Koulibaly played together last season, it did not work. They leaked a lot of goals. But it seems now the partnership of Koulibaly and Rahmani has worked out very well this season. Now with Koulibaly injured, Juan Jesus has to step up and got to keep a clean sheet. They haven't kept a clean sheet now for a while, Napoli. After, they kept a lot of clean sheets. They were the best defensive side in Serie A. Now they're leaking too many goals. You got Anguissa, Deme in the midfield, Zielinski, of course, the more attacking midfielder. You have Politano, Chucky Lozano as the two wingers. Dries Mertens up top. It maybe should be Lorenzo Insigne on one of the other wings as well. So big game at the San Siro. Oh, man, I don't know who's going to win this game. There might be a watch-along for this matchup. We'll see how I'm feeling with the flu and if I can talk for more than 2 hours. It's pretty hard for me to talk about long out for football. You got Pioli, you got Spalletti. Spalletti, I like Spalletti. Pioli, I'm not 100% sold on Pioli. I just think he's playing players in the wrong position when you think about Krunic and Salamakers. I know they don't have wingers, but you got to play the players in their right position. There's no there's creativity is coming from Brahim Diaz and Tonali from AC Milan. Where else is it going to come from? You got work people, you have workmen and Krunic and Salamakers, but who's going to be the creative guy getting the ball to Zlatan in the box and crossing into Zlatan? For Napoli, they just got to step up. I think with Dries Mertens at the false nine, it's worked quite well, but the defense has to keep a clean sheet or at least just only concede one goal, and Napoli will win this game. This is a tough one to call. I think it's going to be a high-scoring draw. I think it's going to be a 2-2 draw between AC Milan and Napoli. I think that's how this match will end at the end of the day. Should be a fantastic matchup. Obviously, both teams have got to win this game to keep up with Inter. Both teams have got to win. It's a must-win for both of these sides. So we'll see what happens in this matchup. And the other games to discuss about, still the Leeds and Arsenal match is on. We'll see if it happens. You're going to stream Milan Napoli. We'll see if I do. There might be a watch along. I'll see how I'm feeling today and tomorrow. Please talk about Sevilla Atletico. Sevilla Atletico, big game. I'm not really sold on Diego Simeone at the moment. Sevilla, they're a very inconsistent side. I'm not too pleased with their performance in the Champions League, but maybe they just wanted to drop down to Europa League. That's how Sevilla like to do. They want to drop down to the Europa League. I think Sevilla might win this game. I don't know, because Atleti are not a great home side, but they're very good away from home. Big game for Lopetegui's side in Sevilla. They got to win this game. Diego Simeone got to come out with a response, put in a good performance. I think it's going to be a draw, 1-1 between Sevilla, Atletico. Not a lot of other games to discuss about this weekend, guys, because we don't know what's going on here. We don't know if some teams will come back with a positive test the next day. It's so unpredictable at the moment. But next week, I will maybe come out with then a preview of my dog is going crazy on my lap here, of the AFCON. So stay tuned for that, guys. I think I'm going to head out, hour and 20 minutes. We'll see if maybe I come back later. We can have another live stream. We can discuss more issues in the world of football, in this crazy world of football. Let me just tell you that. I feel draw is a safe pick. Yep, it is. So, guys, I'll put some timestamps so you guys can see when I discussed about the obviously Nations League with Conmebol. That was at the beginning. I talked about it for about 35 minutes. Then I moved on to crowd violence in France. Then we discussed about Coupe de France and how wonderful of a tournament it is. And then we discussed about match previews and all sorts of stuff with COVID issues going on in the world of football at the moment. So it's your boy Michael with my dog Levi. You guys have a beautiful day. Remember to stay safe in this crazy world. Stay safe, everybody. Have a beautiful day.